Hey, welcome guys to another little tutorial. Now today's tutorial will be some cleanup and things, and we are going to decouple some code from other stuff. And what I mean by it is we're going to make it more versatile toward what we need. Because of the way it was designed originally, it's not as it's very hard to separate certain code from others. So we're going to have to come up with a solution for that. Because if you know, a lot of times when you do a get component or something like that, you are going for a specific type, like build type, or let's say a script of. Actually, I'll show you. If you usually are getting a component, you'll go to your thing, and you'll go navigational obstacle maybe, or box collider. This is a type, okay? And you can create your own like types and stuff like that, because what a type really is basically a script, right? We can get component modes, money, pool lookup, or any such thing, as long as it's something that we want. Then we can call a get component and this. But I don't like that I'm using tower standard or build type or something of that nature when I'm in an upgrade class. It doesn't sound really logical to me. And this cost object, as the development time goes, this is becoming more and more, let's say, cluttery, more and more bigger. And a lot of times when I'm doing a script and stuff like that, I want it to be small, and I want to be segregated into something that's only being used when it needs to be used, okay? Pulling up information and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll be quick and everything, but this cost object should not have the tech required, okay? Or some of this other stuff that I have in here. It shouldn't have this type of information in it. And it's not bad that it does, but it means that I'll be getting a component and dancing around certain things that I don't think I should have to. And there's a solution for some of this, including how we're doing damage, okay? In the damage class, I have changed this a little bit, not very much, and I will show you in a minute, in a second. And the reason why I changed it is because it was using send message, which has its overhead and things, and it's looking for a message that goes, hey, call up damage, and then send a value. But in all fairness, it worked for its purpose. But the problem with it is when we go to damage something or write it, we don't have references to what kind of damage call and parameters. So it gets a little confusing. Even though it doesn't require a receiver, which is nice, but in all fairness, it has to go through every component and look at its type and a whole bunch of overhead in the background. And it turns out this can be more expensive than the get component call anymore. They don't really recommend you use send message too much. I mean, yeah, there's some benefits, but there's also some minuses. Okay? So, in all fairness, what I did was I changed it from this line right here to this line. iHealth, other get component, iHealth. If J is not null, use J.damage, and I pass in this. And this makes it a lot easier for me not to make a mistake and stuff because it's going to let me have little constructor helpers and everything else when I'm coding. When I'm doing this with a string, it's got to do string.type and things like that in the background, and that's never good. That's never good. Okay, when it has to think about something, it's not good for the game. Okay, it served its purpose at the time, but we shouldn't be using it probably at this moment. Now, this get component call used to be very expensive. Now, not so much. I mean, literally, it's not a big call, and we're not doing it like, well, we're only doing it when we hit a damage layer. Okay, and if it's not null, then we do something. And I tested this out. This wasn't a problem. I mean, I had bullets flying and everything else, and it seemed just fine. So I swapped it over to here, and I got rid of the thing. Now, there's a huge benefits to this eye health versus some of the other stuff. And it's not because of, well, in this class example, it's not as much of a health, okay? It's not as health, but when we get into the other classes, you'll see that it becomes more helpful. And what eye health is a interface, okay? And the reason why I chose to do an interface like this and not construct a class that's just specifically for health and then is because, let's say I want our players' health stuff to be different from our enemy health stuff. Well, in order for that to happen for player versus enemy, I would have to make a script for the player, and then I would have to make scripts for the enemy, right? Well, if they both integrate this eye health, like up here, I can write custom code into this class to deal with damage of that type, okay? And I hope that makes sense. Because when it does a get component, it's looking for eye health. Which if the interface is on eye health, you know, if Tower Standard has eye health, guess what? It is that type as well. So it'll pull down eye health, it'll go damage. Well, what are we doing with damage? Okay, damage. We're plussing it. Is he alive? If it's false, then we destroy the game object right now. That's all we do. We could do some other effects like smoke and then, you know, work with some object pooling if we think that that's, you know, if it's a problem with garbage collected and things like that. But I haven't had problems with garbage collection with the towers being destroyed. So in reality, I'm not going to worry about it being destroyed yet. Maybe further in development, we will have to integrate something and for pooling and stuff. But at this moment, we don't. Because it's not an issue. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, let's destroy, you have to do object pooling and everything else. No. When it becomes a problem, that's when you should integrate a solution. Because if I never have garbage collection problems, well, guess what? I never had to write some other code. Now, bullets, on the other hand, there's a lot of bullets that go in and out of the scene. You know, there's a lot, you know. Those can stack up really, really heavy. I had no problem doing object pool for the bullets, okay, because it was called for, okay. I could justify that in memory. But the towers, you don't have nearly as much destruction with the towers as you do with the bullets. So that's the reason why we did that. And yes, I will go over the changes in the health but I wanted to let you guys play around with the idea of interfaces maybe, because you can use an interface on like 6 different scripts, but they're all iHealth, or the interface that you're using at the time. So to look at this in a kind of modular fashion, and the reason why I've done this is, okay, take in our editor, okay, and this is what's really annoying in a way. If I go in here and let's say I want to delete a class, like this class, tower thing, I really can't do that without breaking the whole project, which is really, really annoying. But here's the thing that I really like about it. Okay, let's say we have a health class for our towers, okay? And we call it, let's say for giggles, health, okay? Well, if I delete the health class for my guy, like let's say, for instance, I delete this right here. And I know this is removed, but I delete the non-mesh thing and everything. And, you know, it breaks my project. I get a bunch of errors because it no longer exists. Well, the beauty about an interface is, because my bullet wants the interface for let's say, okay, right down here, okay, it's looking for iHealth, so it's looking for the interface. It doesn't care about the class that I wrote for the player. It doesn't care for that at all. It only looks for the interface of iHealth, which is really, really good, because when I delete, let's say, the health script, like let's say the health script that was here, like right here, this I would go in here, I would be like, oh, you know, here's the script, and I would just go delete. Okay, I'm not going to delete it because it would break my project right now, but if I had like a regular class like this, okay, well, actually, I'll do it right now. I go in here, I go health 1, okay? It would do a compiling thing and everything, and we would be fine. I mean, I know I got these little warnings, but those are important. Well, in on my bullet class, if I were doing get component health 1 and I went to delete this, then it would break my project. You know, it would just flat out break it because it no longer exists in my project, so it breaks. Okay? And then, you know, I would have another one that would be enemy health. Okay? Well, both of these, if they use the interface format that I'm introducing in this video, then it's not going to care about these 2 scripts. Okay? They will work exactly the same. And I'll show you how you can code it in, and it's really easy to get it away from that simple structure that you're used to and use an interface. Okay, you'll go in here, you'll look at your mono behavior. Okay, alright, mono behavior, and you're going to go up to the top. I do this for organizing, but you're going to go in here and you're going to go iHealth. Okay, and you're going to get a warning because it doesn't integrate with other stuff. Well, guess what? All you got to do is integrate the damage part, okay, which if we go to the interface, okay, damage and health level. We must have those in our script in order for that object to be constructed as an iHealth. Okay, you have to have those functions in it. Okay, and look, mono behavior, okay, and iHealth. So I can call get component health 1, or I can do iHealth, and because these are public and they also are constructed inside of this class, you can get access to either one of these. They must be public. Interfaces are meant to be public things, okay? So if you're looking for something that's private, this will not work for you, okay? And most of the time you're calling this from another script anyway, so you're going to have some type of public functions or whatnot. But for our case scenario, there's too many towers in there. Even if the person wanted to cheat, you would have to sit there and search up the variable for each tower, and that would be a pain in the rear anyway. I mean, and two, it's a little indie game. You're not going to be doing some multiplayer thing or anything like that, because even if you did multiplayer, you would have some authentication anyway. So you would go through a whole different process anyway. And two, you cannot stop cheating no matter what you do. Trust me, it's a headache, and you know, all encryption eventually gets cracked by somebody or something somewhere down the road. It's a never-ending battle. So this is now an iHealth. Okay, that's all we had to do to integrate this, and this does health 1 right now. Okay, so remember, this is looking for health iHealth. Okay, so now I want to make my enemy an iHealth object. Okay. And this is the beauty of this. This is very, very easy. I go iHealth, and I throw in the functions, okay? And now both these scripts are accessible by a single get component. And these are two different types. So it doesn't matter what this name right here is, okay? And usually people go get component and they'll throw in the thing like health 1, okay? Which is perfectly fine and everything else. But if you have, like we do, multiple different types, and you got an enemy health script and a player health script, and they have to do completely different things, then this get component health 1 really sucks. And then you can do get component type blah blah blah. No. All that stuff sucks. It sucks, because eventually you're gonna have to need something. Nope, I am not gonna do it. I'm just going to go with what we had before, and not that. iHealth, because it's so much easier and so much easier to understand. Okay? So now, even though I have these two things here, and we're going to save this, and Unity and programming itself doesn't care that these are mono behaviors and stuff. Okay? They're both iHealth objects. They both are pretty much typed kind of the same. Okay? They're looking for the iHealth, and both of them have it. So they meet the requirements to do a get component call. Now, for example, and this is the beauty of this, because it's not going to break my project because I've got a reference somewhere. I can go delete and delete it just fine, and that. Okay? What's this crap? Oh. So, there's the beauty of that. That is very, very nice. It compiles fine. You know, it's something that's more of a problem a lot of times than I would like for it to be. And it's a justifiable problem because the compiler and the system doesn't know what to do because these things don't exist and you're trying to call them up. The compiler screams at you and goes, "Hey, you messed up somewhere. You broke something." Interfaces are really nice for a few things. The functions that are inside the interface, you must have all of them integrated into the class that you want to use the interface for. And what I mean by that is in our health class here, in order for me to use, where's my interface reference? In order for me, oh come on, work with me. In order for me to use this method, iHealth, it has to have both these things in here. And they're wrote exactly like this, okay? They don't have to have the public thing right here. These are public by default because its interfaces are meant to be public, okay? They must have both of these in here, okay? And it's very, very important because if you go into another class, okay, and you do iHealth, and why does it give me, why would it want something? Oh, because it's not expecting that. It's expecting this because it doesn't have inheritance yet. Okay, that's right. Whew. And we integrate it, okay? And see how I've got, oh, I already have a damage one. I already got a single one. But this health level doesn't exist in the script. If I delete this one, just cross it out like this, okay? If I just straight up delete this, we go back into Unity, it will throw an error because both of them are not in the class. Compiler, see, health object does not implement interface member iHealth.health level because it's required. And you know, this is a prime example of, hey, this is the strong thing about interfaces. It requires that all those functions exist. If you're using inheritance, this wouldn't be a problem because it would use the base version of it, which usually in the base version, it does debug.log or some type of error message screaming at the player, hey, you messed up. Not screaming at the player, but screaming at the programmer, hey, you messed up. This is not working correctly. Please fix it. Or it does nothing. It's totally up to how it's designed. But I like interfaces because A, you can use multiple interfaces. B, it explicitly makes sure that you do all the requirements where inheritance would ignore certain things. So they both have the strong suit. Inheritance also makes you have more scripts and stuff. So, you know, it's kind of one of those, things. Left hand, right hand, which one's the hand that you actually want to use? So in this video, you've seen a prime example of using iHealth, an interface to work with the health system, and you've seen the strong points of it. You've seen the error messages that you could possibly run into. Okay, you've seen how you could decouple the code, whereas if you delete one script out of your project, it's not going to break every freaking thing. Okay, because it would be ridiculous to make it where it actually, is broken in every way, right? And it's just less cleanup afterwards. So I hope this helps you, and I know it probably wasn't the most interesting video, and I apologize for that, but this video is going to be very important for moving forward, because I don't like how the upgrade system has certain types and things like that inside of it. So we're going to be using a lot more interfaces to work with other classes versus what we do now when it comes to just straight up function calls and stuff. So you're going to see a lot more interface use and things in the future, because it's going to be a lot easier. Probably in the next video, you're going to see the most useful part of it, and that is for grabbing multiple references at a single point. Okay, this is going to be very, very nice for you, because it's going to keep us from calling a bunch of crap like all at once. Okay, it's going to be very, very nice. So stay tuned. Thanks. Like, hit subscribe, smash that little bell on right below the video so that you know that we have more videos coming. And if you haven't subscribed and things, or even looked in the channel, please look at the little channel link below here that says I believe War Dawn or War Gaming, something like that. Yes, I believe. And you will notice that I have several videos, including videos of video games in there. So, couldn't hurt to watch other stuff. So, thanks, guys. And this is War Dawn, over and out. Goodbye.